Hello viewers, this is Thika Town today 3T, and today as we had promised, we are back with another guest. This time is another very special guest, Dr. Susan Gitau. We all know Susan Gitau as a counselor and also an investor in Thika. Maybe as we start, Dr. Susan Gitau. Who is Susan Gitau? As our viewers in 3T may be wondering, who is Susan Gitau?
Wow, thank you so much, Thika Town, today for coming to cover me. And I believe this is going to inspire someone. My full name is Dr. Susan Wambui Gitau, although my brand name is Dr. Susan Gitau. I am a counseling psychologist and a lecturer at African Nazarene University. In Thika, I run a private practice called International Professional Counselor Center, where I bring together local counselors and international counselors to promote mental health, wellness, good practices, and any upcoming way of intervention, especially in mental health. I also run a foundation, Susan Gitau Counseling Foundation, that mainly focuses on the vulnerable individuals, communities. And currently we are running a Teen Moms project in Kiandutu and Matharao and a bit of Kiganjo. And we are also empowering youths, especially those in recovery, in drugs and substance abuse, and also from crime. We also do clothes donations, housing donations, and we are on Google. Actually, my name is there. And so I would like you to know that the foundation mainly started as a foundation to work on the mental health issues. But later on we discovered psychosocial support is very key, and it doesn't come from one dimension, because there are basic needs, there are natural needs that human beings need. It's not just mental health. I also run a college, Africana College of Professionals, whose main course of training is counseling psychology. But we do have computer classes. We also have community services. We have community and social work development course, and we also have HTSC. And I'm glad to let you know that HTS in Kiambu, we are the only college that is accredited to train in that.
As you have said, we have seen, we have a very rich background there. Now, tell us, did Susan Gitau start from the top, or what is your history? What is your story behind the Susan Gitau, the Dr. Susan Gitau that we know?
Well, I grew up in a large family of 8 siblings with a mentally ill father for over 23 years in Thika Town. And because of his mental illness, we had to relocate from town to go and live in Kiandutu slums. I believe this is the largest slum in Kiambu County. And I feel humbled to talk about where I grew up for 17 years. And I want to say that it wasn't easy. I will be lying to anybody to say it was easy. It was not easy to have food for every day. It was not easy to have water. We used to trek for long distance to actually go and fetch water. We also had a very rough time because it's an environment full of people who are drunk, full of people who are violent. So every night for me was a nightmare. And waking up every morning was just another day to be thankful to God, because you could sleep. And when you wake up in the morning, there's a body lying in front of your door, or here there's somebody who has hanged themselves, or there are people who have seriously injured one another, or you hear there's a child that has been raped. So all sorts of what we call social ills were terrifying for me. It was so traumatic. So I want to say, it humbles me to know that I have come this far, but at the same time, I like to remember the people who are there. So I feel some nostalgic feeling when I go there, and I thank God that I do go there. But I want to say it's not easy. Growing up in the slum, especially when you are a girl, it's not easy. I had to fight so many things for me to be where I am.
Let me catch you short.
Yeah.
Let me understand. Kiandutu slums, as we know it, is associated with maybe crime, liquor, that is illegal liquor, it's associated with all kind of vices.
Yes.
Now, can you let us understand, or let our viewers understand, the kind of life that you went through? What experiences did you get through your 17 years in Kiandutu? And number two, most people believe that being born or being brought up in Kiandutu is like a death sentence. You are going nowhere. So, how can you now get us understand how you went through the life in Kiandutu and how you escaped all those to where you are today?
One of the things I want to tell you is that I used to promise my dad, when he could still coordinate, that I want to have a degree. And the meaning of a degree for me was success. And so I worked so hard, I want to tell you, in school, and I never missed a day. I think I remember only missing one day from school. And one of the things that I can tell you is that it wasn't easy. We had to sell chang'aa. Every one of us had a day. I had my day actually. And my day used to be Saturday, because that Saturday I'm not going to school. We had to sell, sometimes, I don't know whether you know, when you see the chicken in, you find that chicken without the head. So for us, we used to go for the head. We used to call them meshogi. And that was also a booster business for the family. So if you are not selling chang'aa, if chang'aa is not doing very well, we are selling meshogi. And everyone also had a day that you'd go get from the Jamhuri market every morning, very early in the morning, and you are walking barefoot actually, and it wasn't easy. The other thing I can tell you we used to do sometimes is to brew moratina, and we used to do it right in the house. You know when the police come, all of you put fire there and you surround the place where you have buried moratina so they don't know. And there was a lot of harassment. I want to say why I am so pertinent today about human rights. There was a lot of harassment. We used to know when the police are coming for the brewers. We used to know when the police are coming for the people who are drinking. And of course, my family was not exempt. So you can imagine that kind of hyper-arousal every now and then, knowing that you have chang'aa in the house, knowing that you have moratina in the house. It wasn't easy. And I want to tell you, it's very difficult to sell this substance and you're not taking. So my mom ended up taking it, because they would tell her, you cannot sell it to us, and you're not taking. The children who were also selling it, some of them started tasting it. And I want to tell you, it wasn't easy to pull through as one individual from a family of 8, being the only one who goes through Form 4 university up to where I am as a doctor. It wasn't easy. Even running away from men, because they could also come. There was a lot of sexual harassment and sexual exploitation. I have my own siblings, my own beautiful sisters who did not go through what I went through, especially in school. Because if their school ends in class 5, the other one ends in class 7, that's the end of life. But I want to thank Visa Oshwal Community, the Asian community in Thika. They sponsored the entire high school that I did not have to go home at any one time to get school fees. They paid for me. And that was actually, I would say, my wings to fly. Because I was able to finish Form 4, pass, and go to University of Nairobi, take a career in teaching, and from there, the story has been a story of success, one level to another. But what kept me going? I used to live a very good life up to the age of 8. So I had tasted being in a good family, a father, a provider. So when we went to the slum, I did not want to forget the good that I had tasted. Even if life became so bad and so hard for us, for me, I chose not to forget that there is a time I lived well. So I hung on to that dream. Then I also used to feel there's a lot of injustice in this slum. There's a lot of poverty in this slum. So there was a motivation that one day I become successful and come back. And because education, to me, it kept ringing. It is the key to success. I felt I need to come back and do something in education so that I can also tell people you can get out through education. And even now, even if I have seen the other ways like vocational skills, training and development, education got me out.
We are talking to Dr. Susan Gitau, and maybe she can continue telling us about the family life after losing your dad. And I understand later on you lost your brother, and it was a very painful experience. Can maybe let us know how life was in Kiandutu, especially after losing your dad?
Thank you so much. Yes, and my dad was a super dad, and I have kept his name. Gitau is my dad's name, and I am proud to have his name because he was a super dad. He did everything when he was mentally stable for us, including his wife, who was our housewife. But I want to tell you, it wasn't easy. So I lost my dad twice. I lost a father through mental illness. So he wasn't with me from the age of 8. He was in and out of Mathari Mental Hospital. And then later on, the night I wanted to make my dad happy, the night I graduated from University of Nairobi, I will never forget, my dad died in hospital. And it was not a death that anybody expected. It was cruel because he had a very deep cut on his head. So I lost meaning. Why did I have to work so hard and get this degree? I wanted to prove to my dad I have kept my promise, and I discovered the day after when I went with my gown and a piece of cake. He loved milk a lot, only to be told, your dad died last night. So I lost my dad twice. And later on, it wasn't easy to believe in life. I want to tell you, it wasn't easy. But when I looked at my family, I saw they were all looking up to me. They are in that slum, desperate, helpless. I kept pushing and pushing. And I want to tell you, there is another phase of life, of my life, that I can tell you maybe next time I'm interviewed, what people go through. You come from slum, you work so hard, people will still judge you. They will still stigmatize you. Because I could not go to my home. I am a mom of one son who is 23 years old. Because people were thinking, because my mom is alcoholic, and my sisters were, my brothers were, even me, there is no way I'll miss to be alcoholic. So I also lost a bit of my dignity because I am associated to a family that has been broken because of living in poverty in Kiandutu. Because I want to tell you, they were beautiful people. Before we went there and faced all the challenges, they were beautiful people. I had a beautiful mother. But because there was no other business for her to do, it was only chang'aa. She drank. She did not know what I know now. As an addiction counselor, I know there are some people who are not supposed to use alcohol, people who are not supposed to use drugs because they have a genetic X factor. And my family happens to be one of those families that are not lucky. So if somebody uses alcohol, uses substances, they may not survive as much as other people may use. I never touched it, but I was associated with it. So losing my other brother through also alcohol, because he drank. There was a brother called David Muthua. He drank, it rained the whole night, and he slept in the rain. He developed pneumonia, went to the hospital, was admitted, but was never diagnosed for pneumonia. He was being treated for malaria. And so he died. He died again when? I was in the middle of doing my final exams at University of Nairobi. Again, I remembered him, how he used to escort me as I went back to Nairobi University. And I told myself, I must be successful because of him. But the one that was undoing was the death of my immediate follower, Joseph Wambui Gitau. He was murdered, and murdered by people who knew him. And he was murdered near the place where we used to live. And this murder, I sometimes feel I have a role to play in it. Because I used to tell him, now you, because you have friends there and you are brave, go and find out somebody who is suffering there. And we were working very well, especially to help the HIV positive people, because my brother was already publicly professing he was HIV positive. But during this kind of helping, I cannot tell you what went wrong, but my brother was murdered in cold blood. I was receiving phone calls midday, 15th, I remember, of August 2009. My brother's lifeless body lay near where we used to live. That, I want to tell you, broke my heart. I even felt I will never step there. I will never help anybody from the slum. But I want to tell you there is something that I have discovered in life, that we are wired for a purpose. We are wired for a mission. I looked around, I remember telling them, you know who did this, because I live here and I know you and you know us. So you know who did this. But I will not say anything. I told the police I don't want any further investigation because I know here things can happen. Bad things can happen. So I went on, but I remembered the kids in school. I remembered my dream of empowering the children to become academic giants. So I said they did nothing to me. They did nothing to my brother. Those who did it were criminals. They were murderers. And so I went back. And I'm happy going back to actually Kiandutu Primary School. And I do a lot there.
Now, after all that experience in Kiandutu, losing your father, losing your two brothers, it must have been a very touching moment. Now, can you tell us how you came to be who you are right now? I believe you are the first doctor, PhD in Kiandutu. Can you tell us now? That girl, that naive girl, now graduating to the position you are today.
Wow, beautiful. I went to Muslim primary school, scored very high, went to St. Anne's Girls, Lioki, passed to go to university, pursue education, commerce and economics. But when I became a teacher, because people know me more as a counselor, they don't know the teacher in me. I became a high school teacher teaching business studies and social ethics. But along the way, I discovered that students are abused, and that does not encourage them. So I decided I want to do things differently. I had a lot of insults in the slum. I had a lot of name calling for children, and they never amounted to anything. So I said, as a teacher, I want to be a different teacher. Never call them names, appreciate them, raise their self-esteem. And I didn't teach schools that had high performers. I taught schools of 100 marks, 90 marks out of 500. And I saw that this was bearing fruits. And I decided I want to do it in a very good way. So I went back to school, did a higher diploma in counseling psychology from the Kenya Institute of Professional Counseling. I used to take 3 vehicles, Kandara, Thika, Nairobi, and Westlands. Actually, there were like 4. And I was so excited because I also rediscovered who I am. I discovered self-awareness is a driving force to where somebody wants to go. Then I discovered this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And so I had to add on to that knowledge. I went to Desta University, did a master's in counseling psychology for 3 years because I wrote thesis. Then from there, I worked for a few years. I decided to go back and do PhD. I registered in Kenyatta University 2008, started classes 2009, but there was a lot of misunderstanding of my study because I was believing in Africa, we need to solve issues, not to keep saying there are issues that are so visible. And I guess it was a new thing for me to do, an intervention study. So I stayed there for so long. I actually say that was also another long journey, traumatic by the way, because in 2014 when I discovered I was not having a breakthrough, I stopped that PhD after 6 years. And I decided I am going to another university. And I thank God I went to a university where I got the support I needed. That is Thika University. I had a professor who was the lead in publications and research process and statistics. I had one who was an expert in the field I was doing. And I had another one who had to align my work to what the university would like it to be. Every university has their own research policy and research guidelines. So I got the best of the support from Thika University and I stayed there for 4 years. I went there, registered as a fresh student, and I graduated with my Doctor of Philosophy. You can see it there. I know you're going to see it maybe and know that it was not easy. But I had to really push to be that doctor. Why? In the inside of me, I want to go back to Kiandutu and tell the children, you can be anything you want to be. Despite many other heartbreaks I've had along the way, a lot of misunderstanding, fighting to be recognized. Let me tell you, if you come from a place like Kiandutu, there are people who can even see your quality, your competences, and I can never hide about my roots. because I want some small kid there, some desperate kid, some desperate parent, some desperate community leader to never stop working and know you can raise that child to be someone. So I really wanted to be a doctor. So that when I go back there, I tell them, here I am. And I'm telling you, there are so many young people after me who have become very, very academically excellent, and they are now in universities. Some are finished. Some of them are going back to be leaders there. So I believe education can change somebody. And so, even if I am the first doctor in that, from that slum, I want more doctors. And the more we are educated in that slum, the more we are going to transform. Why? I have realized you can wait forever. You can wait forever for people to come and tell you, hey, you guys, you are in the mud. Hey, you guys, this is the way. And especially when I see the exploitation of these community members, I call them my family, especially during elections. And they are there. They are the highest voters, by the way. If you want to make through in your elections, political elections, if you are around Thika and Kiambu and you need votes to actually turn over or leap over, you will find that Kiandutu has the highest. But these people are still living in desperate situations. So I said it does not matter whether I'm going to rescue 5. But I want to tell you, with education, you can express your needs, you can express what you want, and you can also tell people, you can highlight what is going on. And in that way, you never know who is watching, you never know who is listening.
Wow, that's a very great story. In fact, I feel inspired in a way.
Thank you.
It's good, and I believe your story will touch 1 or 2 people, and also will do something to do with that perception that if you come from the slum, you are a reject, or you are a failure, or you are a criminal. Because that has been the main challenge, where people view others depending on where they come from. Now, what is your parting shot?
Wow. Thank you so much. I want to tell you, growing up in the slum, if you look at it positively, it's a big advantage. You become creative, you become innovative, and you're very bold. I want to imagine if I never grew up in Kiandutu, the shy girl that I was, with very low self-esteem. The way I talk about issues that matter and they are true, I don't think I would be doing it. So I would like to tell somebody who is living there in poor neighborhoods, anywhere in this country, or even outside Coast 3T, you're watched all over the world, make sure you appreciate yourself. Accept also where you are now. And if it is a situation that is very hopeless, just have some hope for tomorrow. Keep seeing a brighter day is coming. I kept telling myself, things are going to be brighter. Things are going to be good. And I have never been disappointed. It may be slow, because when you come from a slum, if you have any property, you are even watched more than other people. Where did you get it from? And kindly go back home. I have come back to Thika. I can work in Nairobi. I can work anywhere in this world because I am a universal worker. I go out and back. But I chose to come back to Thika. Even when I know it's very difficult to be held in your own land. It's difficult. But I came back to say, you can give back to the same community. Either where you were born, because being born there is actually some pride. Where you grew up in Kiandutu, Kiandutu has given me a story. The world wants to hear stories. So it could have been very, very hard. It could have been very painful. But today, I have a story, a touching story from Kiandutu slums. So I want to encourage you, wherever you are, whatever you're going through, especially this period of corona pandemic, so many things have gone wrong, so many people have been affected mentally. I want to tell you, keep hope alive. Keep your attitude positive. And today I have a practice that I'm spreading everywhere, to individuals, to couples, to families, to communities, to the nation and outside. Mindful self-compassion. Be kind to yourself no matter what happens. Know there is somebody else who is suffering in the world like you are. So you are not alone. Feel connected. And last but not least, see suffering, do something about it. Because when you see suffering and you don't do something about it, your conscience will judge you. Join me in my foundation. If you are a very good person that wants to see change in the community, we call it social transformation. Let's come and do the little bit that you can. There is a lot we can do together. And I want to tell you, your mental wellness is very key. Every day, watch your thoughts, because your thoughts determine how you feel and finally how you act. God bless you. This is Dr. Susan Gitau, and thank you, Thika Town today, for featuring me once more. God bless you.
Wow, very powerful. In fact, I'm so much moved. Viewers, that was Dr. Susan Gitau. Very powerful message, and I believe it has touched someone. It has brought some positive change in someone's mind. As she has said, it all boils down to your mind. Think positive, believe in positive, and you will live a positive life. Thank you very much for watching. Next time we might be coming for you. I believe you have a story that you want to share with our viewers. If you have one, please get in touch with Thika Town Today 3T, and we are sure to feature you in our next program. Thank you so much, and God bless you.